Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, and sending me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of Violet Memoir. I believe we are on Lucas's path still. Yep, we're still on Lucas's path, so y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Don't forget the whole Green Man Gaming affiliate link code I have if you guys want to buy some games, especially with the upcoming Resident Evil 4. You'll get discounts on that and such on their website, and if you use that link, I get commission for whatever y'all buy. And, what else? Oh, yeah, my lovely girlfriend, Elle, is, she's an artist, and she's taking, commissions, via Twitter and FA. I've got those links in the description, but anyway, y'all, let's jump right back in, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go. Alright. Returning his embrace, I expect to hear sobbing against my shoulder, but he just presses his muzzle into my neck and taking deep inhales. Random memory crawls to the front of my mind. I've just dropped my ice cream, and I'm crying, but then Marcus hugs me. His familiar scent alone was calming in a way I can't explain. I swear I can still faintly remember the way it made my nose tingle. I wonder if that's what Lucas is doing right now. I doubt I've really done anything to deserve being considered as being... I've really done anything to deserve being considering a safe space for him, but if I am, I'll do my best to try and keep him stable. It just kind of threw me off a little bit. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Lee looking at the two of us with concern etched onto his face. There's a silent offer for him to come over and help, but I decline with a shake of my head. I think he just needs a moment. And a moment is what I give him. Oscar and Lily are distracted by the door, not even noticing the two of us. But that's probably for the best. Lucas's breath becomes deeper and strong. Release of air against my neck is relaxing in its own right. I could stay like this for hours. I don't think Lucas would decline the offer either. Are you scared too? His voice is meek, and there's a little drop of fear creeping through as well, as he's scared like I'm going to disprove of his completely understandable terror at this situation. Of course I am. But you're still here to take care of me. It was like this yesterday, too. Just because I'm helping you doesn't mean that you're not helping me, too. We help each other, right? Right. He inhales one final time, digging his nose deep into my fur in a way that sends a tremor through my body, and I'm glad he pulls away. It's not the time for sensations that electrical. You two all right? I'm good, just need a moment or two. Lee reaches over and brings a hand to the fox's back, rubbing in gentle circular motions. Lucas freezes up at the contact, and I think he's considering pulling away. Instead, he relaxes against the touch. It's not much, and he still looks uncertain about it, but it's progress. I know Lee would respect his space if he asked him to, and I think Lucas knows that too. Guys, I'm gonna open this door. Lily's voice echoes throughout the hallway, bringing all of our attention towards her. She's holding onto the handle now, with Oscar taking a step back like they're preparing for something awful on the other side. Why? Let's just get the fuck out of here! There's something up with this door. Look! She points towards a little attachment at the center of the door, a vase-like container holding fresh blue flowers. Looks like it's been exchanged for new ones recently. It's like a memorial. There's a hint of awe in Lee's voice, but his set jaw and firm eyes is enough of an indicator that he doesn't approve of this either. I think he just wants to get the rest of us out of here, especially after that showing with Lucas. Who cares if it's a memorial? Let's just get out of here. Maybe there's something in here. I really want to look inside. There's something to the way Lily's saying this that doesn't make it sound like simple curiosity. She sounds confused, more so than a simple well-kept door should make someone. It couldn't hurt, right? It'll just take a moment. Yeah, okay, just a peek. I really want to protest, but there's something to the way she's staring at the plaque on the door, listing the room number as 149, that makes her look mournful for something that might be hidden on the other side of that door. And besides her, there's also something eating away at the back of my brain, like little voices whispering thoughts directly into my head. It feels like going into this room is the correct thing to do. Everyone else looks like they're thinking the same. Even Lee and Lucas, who look like they want to leave the door alone, don't seem to be protesting anymore. It's like we collectively agreed this is the right thing to do. As she touches the handle, it feels like a spike of anxiety goes through my spine and up into my brain. It takes all my willpower to not take a step back, or hide behind someone. It's like I can feel electricity tingling my fingertips. Despite everything, though, I feel more at peace than I've felt since we arrived in this place, and maybe even a little before it in the library. Something about being with everyone else makes everything feel more manageable. I wonder if the others feel that too. Then, without any more hesitation, she yanks down the handle and shoves the door inside, but I'm not able to see inside as my vision is filled with only white like a supernova is happening in front of my eyes. Uh-huh. Wakey, wakey! Eggs and bakey. My eyes open with a surprising amount of struggle, and I can feel a searing headache burning inside my skull. It makes my entire head feel heavy with exhaustion. Everything comes back into focus and we're back in the library, sitting at the same tables we were just before whatever that was happened. What? Did I have another nightmare again? When did I fall asleep? Is it because I read the diary again? Most of our group is also sitting around the table, looking just as spaced out as I do. The only outlier is Lucas, who's back to sitting at the computer, trying to adjust his cheek fur from what looks like hours pressed against keys. It's like everyone's waking up from a nap. Not just me. There's no way that's a coincidence. It can't be. Did all that really happen? I doubt it. Lee's voice is surprisingly unperturbed. It's as if this entire thing doesn't faze him in the slightest. How are you so calm? Did we really go to that hospital? Calm down. It was probably just a dream we all had. Things have been getting to people lately. I'm sure it's fine. See, that's one of the things that has always bugged me, that people are like, oh, you know, people can have shared delusions. Okay, fucking how? Doesn't shared delusions kind of imply some kind of mental link? And wouldn't a mental link also kind of imply that psychic shit could be real? How are you having a shared delusion that is something that someone else is having? Yeah, it's very weird. We all just happen to share a dream? Yeah, how does that happen? I feel like I'm going crazy here, but Lee just shrugs like everything just makes sense. As soon as we woke up here, he just assumed nothing weird happened, but surely something did. Didn't it? I don't think it was just a dream. I know some guys hit some stuff in the corners of this place. There are no cameras down on the ends of the aisles, so plenty of guys think it's better to do stuff here than get caught at their dorms. They probably ended up whiffing some of that and tripping balls. I know my roommate got high here once because some guy across the shelf from him was hitting some shit. That sounded more likely than us happening to share a dream, but what are the odds of that happening? Plus, the whole thing just felt so real and so similar to that dream I had in that classroom on Wednesday. Both of them took me into this insane, twisted world, but what if it wasn't a coincidence? But how did we all hallucinate or dream the same thing? We probably just influenced each other, even if we weren't drugged. Someone muttering in their sleep might affect the rest of us who were sleeping as well. Lucas doesn't sound as confident as the rest of them, but I doubt he believes something truly strange happened. It looks more like he's trying to figure out a puzzle at the back of a newspaper. Lily, for her part, doesn't add any theory at all. She looks more concerned about going through her phone. I don't think she's even listening to us. But that simple theory reminds me of an incident when I was younger. I had been 9 or 10 and I had just had a bad nightmare. Marcus was sleeping with me and mentioned that I mutter when I'm having a nightmare. It was how he always knew when to wake me up. Maybe I had another nightmare from reading this and gave it to everyone else. Hell, if Oscar's right, maybe they've been somewhat awake and talked back to me too, feeding this whole thing. But this whole situation sounds insane. I think that's enough. What's stressing over it going to do? Wallace, you're looking pretty messed up. I think we should all head home and take care of ourselves. My phone's telling me it's past 5, so it's getting late. But, hey, whatever it was, a nightmare or hallucination or even just a fit of mass hysteria, we have no real way of knowing. It's best not to get too hung up on it, right? Despite all the protesting I want to do, she's right. This was likely just a fluke, and the odds of us ever finding out what happened are next to nothing. We'd just be leading a wild goose chase. Let's just go home and chill for the night. No more reading the diary, though, okay? I'll take it with me if I have to. I won't. I promise. Good. Do you think someone could stay with you, or you stay with someone else? I don't really want anyone alone tonight. Does everyone else have someone at home? We all look at each other, waiting for someone else to go first. The easiest and most obvious answer decides to take initiative and speak first. I have my sister at home. I wouldn't worry about me, but I got her. Hey, man, I don't think your big tough guy thing means you can't get to you, too. Lee raises an eyebrow at Oscar, and perhaps for the first time that I can remember at this moment, he gives him a direct smile. Thanks. What about you? Got a roommate? Yeah, he's a bit of pothead, but he's chill. He's actually not here often, but the whole frat is pretty lively. How unpleasant. The constant noise of delinquents partying sounds like a worse hell than we were just in. At the route of whatever we were and back in the normal everyday library, Lucas is looking much better. In fact, the only ones that still look shaken at all are Lily and me. She's faring a lot better than I am. No wonder she's worried about me so much. It must look like a mess. I got my roommate. He doesn't have theater club today, so he'll be already home tonight. He doesn't go out on Thursdays. And he's a theater boy too? Ha, he just keeps getting more and more interesting. He's actually a dancer. He's part of a dance club too, and tends to perform dance routines for musicals. Goddamn, sign me up! Everyone ignores Oscar after that, not that he looks too surprised. I can imagine he's gonna poke Lucas about his number later. I can just tell. Hopefully if they do something, Lucas isn't home to catch them. Looks like everyone's got someone to be with. That's good. My dad's gonna be home tonight, so I'm fine. All that's left is Wallace, and after 2 days like that, I don't want him alone. He can stay with me. Our apartment is large enough to fit another person, and my roommate wants to see him more. Lucas barely mutters that last part out like he's embarrassed by it. If I had to guess, it's because Aria is a little more than just excited for me to come over. I don't know if it's because he wants to keep pushing me towards Lucas or wants me for himself. It's hard to tell with him. There's a more immediate issue that comes to mind, unless there was more to the apartment than I saw, and didn't see any third bed. The thought that there's more than a huge area I've already seen is a daunting prospect. It's already dwarfing my one with just its single area and dedicated bathroom. You guys only had 2 beds there. I wouldn't want either of us sleeping on the floor or something. You could come to my room. There's a spare there. I prefer my room, and you can just sleep in bed with me. It's large enough for the both of us. I often use the rest of my bed as a table, because there's so much spare room. The space isn't the problem, but it doesn't look like the idea of sharing a bed with me is something that Lucas even considered awkward or strange at all. If anything, he looks more confused at the fact that I'm finding it weird. The others all raise their eyebrows, but no one speaks out about it. It looks like Oscar wants to make a comment, but Lee's glaring at him to the point where even the others are pulling back. Even the otters pulling back. Even if he doesn't make a comment about it now, I already know he's going to be texting me about this later. I can already imagine all the dirty implications he's going to make about this. The thought of spending the night with Lucas and Ari sounds really pleasant. My apartment is perfectly fine and the privacy is nice, but it gets lonely at night. Plus, Ari's such an interesting character. I can imagine he'll take my mind off things without any hint of effort. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that I'll be sleeping with Lucas tonight if I do. Not that I don't want to. In fact, it sounds nice. His bed looked really soft and his fur is... oof. The thought of his fur pressed up against me causes my face to begin to flush, and I have to look away from the group to hide the pinkness peeking through my fur. Does that sound fine to you, Wallace? My mouth feels dry all of a sudden, but I give a nod. The heat's still burning on my face. If they can see it, and I'm sure they can, no one comments on it. She smiles, and just like that, everyone packs up to leave. It's unceremonious, but that makes sense. It was just a normal day at the end of things. But I just can't shake this nagging feeling that there's more to that dream than just a simple nightmare or hallucination. It just felt a little too specific. There's nothing I can do to prove it, though. Lily's right, after all. If there was something weird going on, it's not like I can do anything about it. Resigned, I lift myself off the chair and I am ready to head off to my hopefully calm night, though knowing some of my company, it might not be so calm. But before I can follow everyone down the aisle towards the entrance, I'm stopped by a hand on my shoulder. It's Lily, and her expression is hard to read, closer to a mixture of uncertainty and worry more than any single emotion. I know things are eating at you. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight, but try to stay strong. Aw. Lucas looks good, but I bet that's not going to last long, so take care of him, okay? I'll try, but I think he's just trying to forget about it as much as possible. Things are pretty bad for him in there. For you too, from the sounds of it. Don't understand what you went through, too, but the two of you work well together. You meshed better than anyone I've seen, so I know you'll do great over there. Aww. She wraps an arm around my shoulder, pulling me along as she walks towards the stairs. It's comforting for the both of us. There's tension in her shoulders that's dissolving, too. Do try a break from that book. It doesn't look to be doing you any favors. I know. So this roommate, he sounds pretty wild. Alright, yeah, he's interesting. I can't tell if he's trying to sleep with me or get me and Lucas together. She giggles at that and sticks her tongue out. Who knows what's going on in her head, but I know it's only going to light my face ablaze. You're so popular. First week and you have 3 guys chasing after you. You go, girl. They're not chasing after me. I know, I'm just teasing, but it sounds like you're feeling a little better? Yeah, I am. Thanks. Of course. We're friends. You can hit me up whenever you need someone to talk to. Now come on, everyone's probably waiting for us. Without waiting for a reply, she yanks on my arm until she's near dragging me towards the door. We're not running, but you could have fooled me with how much I had to struggle to keep up with her. Coming up on the door, Lily and I are... Oh, sorry, y'all. Pardon me. Coming up on the door, Lily and I are both surprised to find Lucas standing by it. He's leaning against the wall, eyes trailing on us. It's clear he's waiting for the two of us, or maybe just me. Have the others left? Not yet. They're waiting outside. I just wanted some space for myself. It's been an awful day. You can say that again. Thankfully, there's no traces of any burns or charred fur on either of us. But doesn't stop the shudders that runs through my body when I think of that fiery hallway. I imagine things aren't too great for him too. But all of it hasn't been bad, right? We had a good lunch, don't you think? She's nudging me with her shoulder. Nothing too painful, but insistent enough that there's no getting out of giving my opinion. Though the fox looks distant enough that she doesn't need to force me into anything. Yeah, it hasn't been all bad. Whatever happened at the end was just part of the day, but I enjoyed talking to you before lunch. He looks down at that, and there's a little tremble of guilt in my chest. He looks lost in thought, but I hope I didn't make him feel like I'm blaming him for feeling bad. We really went through hell at the end there. Taking the hint that there's no brushing this off, Lily's ears drop, and she gives me a sympathetic smile before patting the fox on the shoulder. It's light to not overstep any boundaries, but he leans into it regardless. Come on, let's go say goodnight to the others. We both follow her out, neither of us saying anything. There's a part of me that wants to pry and try to see what the fox is thinking, but he likely needs some space more than anything else. People just cope with things differently, after all. Outside, Lee and Oscar aren't talking, which is sending me some mixed signals. I can't tell if I should be worried that they're avoiding each other or glad that they're not arguing. The moment he catches sight of us, Lee pushes himself off the light post he was leaning against and shoves his phone into his pocket. He begins to walk away, but stops after a couple steps. Make sure you guys get home safe. The campus isn't trouble, but don't fuck around.
Wait, before you go.
Once again, the possum stops before he can take another step, but this time he turns around. He doesn't look annoyed, but more confused at what someone could need from him.
Do you think you can walk me home? It's not too far, and I don't want to go alone. Would you be a gentleman for a young lady?
Despite his best attempt to keep his stone-cold neutrality, his face softens at her request. He tries to play it off with a huff and a nod for her to follow, but I don't think any of us are buying it. Lily sticks her arm up in a silent victory pose and bolts down the stairs until she's right next to him. To his credit, the possum barely reacts to her presence and just begins walking again. She even turns back to give us a little wave, to which Oscar happily returns with way too much energy for someone who just went through what we did.
Aren't you going too?
Lucas's voice is a mixture of a mumble and a huff. He just looks as done as this day with how I feel on the inside, and that's saying a lot considering how bad I'm feeling. You want me to? Lucas's ears press down against his head. He just gives a light shake. There's just something about the defeated sag to his shoulders that tugs at my chest. The otter reaches over to the fox's head, hesitating only enough for Lucas to pull away or refuse, but he doesn't, and Oscar rubs his hand over his head and ears. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!